2000, I started to work on the creation of an organic skincare line, which I launched in 2002.
From being a journalist to becoming an entrepreneur in the organic skincare industry, now writing a book and inspiring many more people and supporting many more skincare products.
I learned a lot and I interviewed a lot of people, a lot of chemists, a lot of biologists. We say often, well, I don't have time. And it's more about making the time.
So, Caroline, I would like to ask you if you could share more about your journey from being a journalist to becoming an entrepreneur in the organic skincare industry to becoming what actually you are doing now, writing a book and inspiring many more people and supporting many more skincare products.
All right. So that means I have to start all over from when I was working as a journalist, right? That's what you want to know. So I
basically transform your life in so many different. You were dreaming again in so many different parts of your life, and I would love our listeners to hear this part.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I think everything is linked. You know, like you start off somewhere, and then you look. I was actually recently looking back and thinking this is interesting because all the titles that we give people, you know, labels, it actually doesn't really mean much. It's just a continuum of things, and everything that you've studied or worked for is going to serve you, you know, all your life. So yeah, I started off as a journalist. I was always fascinated by better living and everything that has to do with the lines, health, wellness, anything betterment, how to, you know, heal, feel better, learn more, make informed choices about our health. And so that was, fascinating, but that also led me to write about different things. It wasn't only beauty or health and beauty, it was a little bit about art. And at some point I wrote about decoration and architecture. And then I got married, and after that we moved. He was working in advertising, and so we traveled a lot together. And the first stop was Cape Town, Johannesburg in South Africa. And I went on working as a journalist over there. But then that's also where I started a really profound healing journey for myself. And I dove into, I just wanted to become more hands-on. And do you say dove? To dive? Dove? Dive?
Diving.
So I've been diving.
Sure.
Thank you. into massage. Yeah. Massage therapy.
I start my healing journey. It's funny because I feel that at the end, this healing journey, we have it all.
Never ends.
Yeah, I actually read a very beautiful book. I will recommend it to you after. It's how can we heal our journey, and it's a very beautiful book that I recommend to everyone. I will tag it afterward. When was the click when you start to figure out that I need from what?
Okay, so that's going in a very personal territory right now, but it's totally fine. That's we're here to share, and I believe that somehow I can share maybe not everything, but I can share, you know. So it basically started with like acknowledging a pretty traumatizing time in my childhood. Like, don't we all come from trauma? I think we do, all of us. And so that led me to arriving in South Africa. For me, was very, very profound and very life-changing from Europe, you know, for many different reasons that we could talk about. But what I think that not triggered, but that kind of pushed me to start. And so then that led me to refuse a job that had been offered to be a beauty editor, because I just wanted to, as I said before, dive into hands-on studies for massage, aromatherapy, and then one thing led to another. And so I became a massage therapist. It was back in 1998, so it's a long time ago. And then aromatherapy was offered and organic chemistry was offered with that curriculum. And so then that's where it all started. And I was fascinated by skincare and how to take care of our bodies and what was natural, what was not, what was pure, like what comes on my skin, what gets into my body, what do I eat. So all of these things combined led me to then later on, years later, create my own enterprise and my own organic skincare line. But in between, I went to the Ayurveda Institute. So I went all the way from Johannesburg to Minneapolis to study with Ayurveda. At the time I'm not saying it's different. It's probably very different now, but at the time, it was very infused with Horst Reckel-Basher, the founder, energy. I found that it was very present. And so I enjoyed those studies. So it was, again, like massage therapy and very, very practical as to, how to create your own spa, etc. So I stayed there for about 8-9 months, I think it was. And then went back to Africa and then blah, blah, blah. And I can tell you all my life, what I've done after that. Went to New York. Okay, it's a long life.
You did the journaling and then basically you start this course. Like, for example, if someone would like to go through your path and to learn about this, how to have your spa or how you can do the massage therapy, is it still a school that you can recommend for our listeners?
Oh, wow. It feels like I'm 100 years old.
Yeah, probably it's not, but anyway.
But I mean, there's, it depends where you live, first of all. It depends what you want to learn exactly. Do you want to become, there's massage therapy and massage therapy. There's, what is your goal? So I would say you just need to research. I cannot really say because when I studied, it was a long time ago. When I arrived in and it was in South Africa, and then it was at the Ayurveda Institute in Minneapolis. And then I did like a lot of different, courses here and there. It was all in America. And then I did a little bit here in California when I arrived here, because I had to add more, because every state is different with the hours, the requirements. And so you gotta, most of the time redo a few other or additional hours in different departments. So that's very interesting. So I did that too. But it's not only what I've been doing, but it was part of who I am. It is part of who I am. And I added Reiki as well, which is energy healing, which I think is very interesting and that I recommend to everyone because you can practice on yourself and it's phenomenal. And then the yoga, I started Ashtanga yoga in also 1998 or something. Yeah. And that's been like a really, really intense practice. I think it's too intense for me today, but I've been practicing that for about 20 years. And then I became a teacher in 2009. And then I added the personal training to that a few years later to just, have more to give to clients. And then, so that's more like later on. But then before that, in 2000, I started to work on the creation of an organic skincare line, which I launched in 2002 in Paris.
Which basically, correct me if I'm wrong, it was the first organic cosmetic product in France.
Yes. The first with the...
In time, no one knew about clean products or organic products or... That's not so much the ingredients, I would say.
Not so much, but there was already an awareness, but I would say the awareness was was there, but it was limited, like in microcosmic microcosmic area, and would say like hippies or like, and there were brands already, Dr. Hauschka or Veleda, and I'm from Switzerland, so I've been fed with Veleda, and so it's like, and so we have that kind of way of looking at things. It's very, in nature, and the landscape is different. The way of thinking is a bit different than in other areas of this globe, and so I think that awareness came from there a lot, and that search, like constant search for, what I'm, like that questioning, what am I putting on my skin? What products can I trust? And I'm not a chemist, but I learned a lot, and I interviewed a lot of people, a lot of chemists, a lot of biologists. And then when I started investigating, as a journalist as well, but investigating more to create my own, I was mind blown by what I found, and I thought, okay, this is it. Like I need to just do it and create something. And then I was lucky because when I arrived in Paris, the more I investigated, the more I realized that most of the claims that we used to see, now it's a bit different, but it's still the case nowadays, are blatant lies. So we sell something natural or whatever, and then when you really look at the international nomenclature of cosmetic ingredients, which is the INCI, that long list of botanical name in Latin at the back of the packaging, and if you start really scrutinizing every single ingredient and understanding what that means, then everything that's on the front of the sticker is basically, I'm not gonna swear here, but BS, right? So that was a lot of that at the time, and I'm speaking 2000, so it's like a long time ago. So there's been tons of improvements since then.
I wanted to ask,
but
do you feel a lot of improvements in this time, or you still see, without necessary naming, do you still see brands that they have this BS?
Of course. I mean, of course. But what I mean is that there's improvement in terms of awareness and in terms of activism. Like there's so many people on social media, people trying to raise awareness about what's BS and what's not. So, but before it wasn't. Like before we were more naive, like we would just go to the department store, be like, oh, that's, I'm just buying it because the packaging says so. So it's still the case today, obviously. And I would say it's a market that has two, in French we say deux vitesses. It's like two speeds, exactly. And so we gotta just go on and create what we need to go on creating, because we cannot change things that are already there and ingrained and powerful, because again, it's the biggest ones. And so those ones will always stay there. So now, as would say smaller, just go and carry on creating. And at the time, again, I was lucky at the right time, in the right place. And when I called, at the time it was EcoCert, and still EcoCert, but I called them and they were like, no, we're actually creating this guideline for organic. It was the very beginning. And so I was the first, because they were just creating that how to say, charter or guideline. Yeah. And guideline.
Where we can see this, where can we find this guideline? Somewhere on a website, or how?
Yeah, you can go. There's Cosmos. It says Cosmos. I think, just to make sure, I would just have to double check the entire domain. Yes. So there's that, but there's many others. There's so many others, and it depends if you're in America, if you are in France, in Italy. I mean.
What is the difference between, because you are living in America and you are traveling a lot in Europe, what is the difference between the products made in Europe with the products made in the US? Not, of course, we don't as a big picture.
There's a lot of difference. Basically, the standards are a bit different depending on the labels. Let's say if you are looking at a certified organic, let's say skincare, right? And just skincare in general, the standards are different. And in terms of chemicals, what chemicals are allowed in the US versus in Europe is completely different. In food is the same, different. Everything is different. And I would
more products and ingredients allowed than in Europe.
Yes, and I would say totally. This is an entirely different discussion.
It's just general information. I know that you read a lot and you are so well informed. Of course, you are not a chemist, and we have to mention this at the beginning.
Yeah, no, I'm not. So that's
at the end of the day, I think it's just like a friend's discussion. It's like we are together, and I would love to learn as much as possible from you, because you read and you've been informed so much for such a long time, and I want to get this know-how.
Yeah,
there are so many new things. For example, a few days ago, we are friends and we discussed about it, and I told you about self-tanning. And
yes.
you told me, Karina, at the end of the day, this is an effect of the skin that it's doing something bad to your skin, like the way how you did it. Since then, I don't use it anymore because I trust in you. I trust in your opinion. That's why I think it's important to share some of your know-how, because you really know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know, I don't know what I know, what does that mean? But I think I have some background. I think I have some experience, and I tried I had no idea, and I learned, and I got lucky to meet amazing people along the way. I think if there is something that I can share is, instead of looking outside with all those products, there's a million great products that I can name, right? And there's also a zillion of awful products. But in the end, look inside, because what's gonna make you look good or have a skin that looks healthy is what? Your gut. Okay, so that's where it all starts. Your microbiome inside the gut, because everything is there. Your mental health, what's inside, also your organs, your liver, your stomach, your colon. So how are you treating yourself inside? And so the flora is like so important. Sorry to talk about this, but this is critical. This is I remember I had this interview once with this, actually it was a chemist, and he said to me laughing, poop is life. And he's right. And poop is life. And so you gotta go back there when you think about your skin, and like looking for the ultimate youth serum. I'm gonna look awesome, I'm gonna look fabulous, I'm gonna look 10 years younger, I'm gonna look, but how is it inside your body? Because how your liver manufactures or detoxes, the toxin that we bombarded every day with, and what are you eating that contributes to the health of your skin and allows you to have a skin that stays protected from all the microaggression that are, the sun or the whatever, the pollution, where depending on where you live. So this is the first thing. And then once that's sorted and looked at in a most honest way, because that's one thing to be, oh, okay, cool, I'm just going to buy probiotic and eat quinoa with what? No, but like, is this good for me? Because you are different from me, and no one is the same. So that's also very dangerous to, just like decide this is what I should be doing. I'm going to buy this product. I'm going to eat that way. I'm going to follow that diet because so and so is doing it. No. So that's why it's hard, because you got to look at yourself.
And there are so many trends. Like I really start to be like, I start to read so many now. It's about this Aura ring, which, you know, I have a friend that she's wearing it, and we were together over the weekend, and I said, "How did you sleep?" I don't know. Let me ask Aura. You know, like we forget the connection with ourselves.
Totally. Yes.
Guys, like how
I agree.
Because we lose the connection to ourselves. You know, like
for sure. That I totally agree. That's also, we live in a world where it's actually facilitated. Like we everything is designed to make us lose the connection with ourselves because of what?
Except nature, which is
not only, but like what humans are designing. Yeah, the social media. If you don't have a practice or a little bit of an awareness as to make informed choices, and how can you use social media in a way that's healthy, right? How can you and I'm not gonna say, oh, you cannot eat this or you cannot eat that. You gotta live, and you gotta just you gotta go to the restaurant and have fun, but make informed choices and know yourself enough, or at the best of your ability at a stage of your life, to eat or drink that thing that's not going to mess up with your system and your mind and your organs. And that's really hard, you know? It's really hard.
I wanted to ask you something, Caroline, because I know that there are many that they are listening now, and I know that they want to go through this path. I know I receive a lot of messages, and they are looking for that. When you said look inside, look to the gut, check what is happening. Like for me, in my case, I really had a very long journey of searching and testing and over-testing, I think more than 10 years. And I didn't know what's happening with me. I had a lot of inflammation. I really had a lot of weight. I didn't know what's happening because I couldn't figure out until the last weeks when I figured out that I have a lot of nickel in my body. Not so many people talk about it. I actually found in a place where I'm buying the fish now in Italy, they even have a list at the entry of the pescheria. They have a list with the fish and how much gram on 100 grams of fish, how much nickel is containing. I started to find even tomatoes that they said nickel free. So
it's crazy.
It was like something which I couldn't understand. But my question is, obviously, we are both not doctors and not specialists. How do you will start this healing journey to look inside? What should we do?
Okay, right. So there's a few things I can recommend. There's actually one book that's fabulous that I could recommend called okay, wait, where do I have it? I think I have it here, actually. Let me see. Oh my God, I have it here. Okay, so that's here. That's yeah, because see, it's here. So it's cultivating your microbiome. I can show you.
Show us. Cultivating microbiome. I will do a link about it.
Yeah.
And oh wow, it's so interesting because it's a mix between
exactly
the Chinese medicine.
Yeah.
I love this.
And so that's fascinating. And I would say before, start to read as much as you can. Read. And then I am a firm believer in kinesiology. Yeah, so that would, as I said before, you were different from me, was different from... So we all are completely different. And I remember the first time I met this kinesiologist, actually was on Maui when I was living on Maui.
What is kinesiology? I mean, I have an interview
with muscle testing
as well, but maybe some they don't know.
So it's muscle testing. So basically, the kinesiologist, and you gotta find a good one. So they will basically test various compounds or food or vitamins or and see how it reacts with how your body tests or reacts to it. So that can tell it's making it weaker or it's making it stronger, right? So in my
and the body never lies.
The body never lies, and that's
you did like a simple test. For example, if I say you basically laid down, I don't know, I was laying down on the table, and I say I'm Krina. I have the hands and I have the power to control my hand. But if I say my name is Caroline, I'm Caroline. My hand is falling down because the body knows that I'm lying.
Yeah, it is fascinating. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. And I had this big epiphany when I met this kinesiologist on Maui, because he said, "Oh, there's lead in your body," and I was like, "Me? What, lead? How?" And I had to detox from it big time. And how did it come? I don't know. Maybe because I lived a lot in big cities. I lived in New York City, I lived here, or I was drinking some water that wasn't, I don't know, or I was maybe at some point having a lot of matcha tea, and some matcha can contain a lot of lead. Exactly. So you go to a coffee shop and you trust. So that's again, like it's, and without becoming paranoid, because that's also, because when you become paranoid and completely, first of all, you become completely asocial, but you also create more inflammation, because then there you go, you're gonna freak out about everything. So it's like, again, try and find this middle path, and you would never find it, but just you aiming at finding the middle path is gonna create some kind of balance in your life, right? So for example, matcha, right? So matcha, it's like concentrated green tea powder, and depending on where it comes from, it can be loaded with all kinds of things like lead, for example. And like coffee is
I have
nickel, yeah.
a lot. Matcha with oat milk.
Oh God.
Both of them, it is not a good quality oat milk with
no, and don't, like, all the rapeseed and all the seed oil. Avoid all seed oils. All seed oils, bad. And with like coffee too, coffee contains, depending on the sort, like molds. So they've been tested with molds and a million other. Oh yeah. So yeah.
But I think a lot of our listeners are completely shocked.
So they are, well, that's true, but they are clean. There's a lot of clean.
All the nuts milk that we are making, like almond milk, all these, they have the same, because they are not fresh.
Exactly. So I'm got a tip for you. So when you look at those milks, exactly. So you check again, we were talking about skincare, right? So check at the back and look at the list of additives that there's in there. So lecithin, starch, tapioca starch, sugar, whatever, acacia, I don't know, you want not this. And then almond would just go, so there's like a little bit of almond, and basically it's just additives and water, right? And then what is this almond? Where is this coming from? Like, there's so many questions, and in which packaging, because that packaging interacts with that beverage that's in there. So if it's plastic, then boom, there you go. You have some microplastic that's going to come into your bloodstream. Great. So that is it. This is important. So there's alternatives. First of all, you can do it yourself, but that's a little bit time consuming, but that's beautiful to do, because then you can have your almonds and like the what remains from making your own almond milk. You can put it in the oven, and you can grill it. You can use it in your food or oats or whatever.
Milk.
I love hazelnut. So there's a brand called Elmhurst that I love, and you can also buy the coconut milk from Native Forest, because they have a BPA-free can, and there's no guar gum in there. So you can just pour it in a bottle and then add your purified water or whatever purifying system you have. And then you have your coconut milk.
Basically, you mean the coconut, which is
the coconut cream. Well, it's a coconut cream in the can, right?
From what I do, I take the dehydrate coconut without sugar and anything, organic, and then I mix it with hot water very well, and then I separate basically the coconut, and I have an amazing milk without sugar added, nothing. And in my point of view, the coconut in many cases tastes like soap, coconut milk. I don't know, in my situation I had a few, but like this you have it basically, you have the freshness.
That's very interesting. That's still invisible.
Oh my God, I love it. And it's so easy. You don't even have to mix it with hot water. So this is basically what I love to have a warm drink.
Oh yeah, okay, to make it warm, you mean, yeah.
But you know, if you make it warm and you mix it I have a mixer, you mix it very well and then you separate. It takes really like 3 minutes and then you can your matcha or golden milk. It's something that I love.
I meant like you could just keep it in your fridge and have cold coconut milk, you know. So that would be, you buy that can. I can tell you later, and if your listener want to know how to do it, it's super simple like this. But that is like, I don't know. It's we can talk about this forever, but yeah.
Yes, I love it. I mean, we all the time, like our conversations are forever and ever. Can you share us a little bit more about your morning skincare routine?
Including
products or ritual that helps on your day?
Every day is a bit different. Like in terms of rituals, I like to. First of all, when I wake up, there's something that I love to do, and that sets the tone for the day. I'm going to tell you what is. You open your eyes and you thank your blood, your arteries, your veins, your bones, your organs, and try to connect with each organs, your stomach, your liver, your pancreas, your colon, and really connect even to the bone marrow, like this whole being that you are. Because we just take it for granted the minute we open our eyes, like, okay, to-do list, what do I have to do? Or we're mourning about the day, or we're looking forward to, but it's already like in the mental space. So how can we just connect to everything to the fabric of our being, right? And it's gonna sound a little bit cliche, but like this, be grateful for it. But yes, be grateful for it. And you can open your eyes, you can see, you can hear, you can talk, you can feel, you can stand up and walk. You know, like we just don't even think about this. Right. So first of all, I start with that. And then there's a beautiful loving kindness prayer that I do too. And then what do I do? I mean, I do so many things. I do the tongue scraper, which I will recommend to everyone. And I have hot water and lemon. And then I start like a breathing practice. So my ritual, I get up super early, but that's been because I've never really slept that much, about 6-7 hours max for me. So
what time do you wake up?
Around 5, or even
perfect time, because I heard
sometimes
when you can meditate and it's kind of the best time to connect with the universe. That's basically what I'm aiming for now.
I love it. And there's no outside activity either, so you're just there and with looking at what's going on with yourself, you know. And I think it's the most important thing to do, because then you're going to be a better person for others too. So you need that time, and whenever you can do it, because maybe you cannot do it at 5, maybe you can do it a little bit later, and it doesn't need to be an hour or 2 hours, or it can just be 10 minutes or 15 minutes. I think what matters is trying to find this discipline for yourself to carve the time that you can give yourself. Like we all have different needs, and we all have different lifestyle. We have different way of living. So how can you carve a little bit, like we say often, well, I don't have time, and it's more about making the time. So we usually make the time for other things, like scrolling on Instagram or whatever, and so how can you carve the time for yourself? I think we're losing connection, are we? No.
What else are you doing? It's fine.
What else I'm doing? Okay, sorry. Yes, I'm doing. I write in my journal. So journaling is extremely important for me too, because I was, I'm gonna go to Europe soon, and also to Hawaii again in a month. And I was looking at my journals from back then, and when you read your journal from like way back when,
yes,
and you like, oh my goodness, this woman was not well, and so it's fascinating. No, it's interesting. Like the things, if you are really honest with yourself and really write what it is that's going on with you, sometimes it's scary, and so it's a beautiful way of connecting with yourself. Yeah, if you don't have time to do anything else, just do that, because you can compare with what happened last month and 6 months ago, and see how you've grown, or how you still at the same place. And if you're still at the same place, that's okay too, but how can you evolve from there? And so I do that, and
because this is another thing. For example, in my case, my coach, my therapist, told me just write first what you are observing, because I realized that I'm judging a lot. Even when I'm journaling, I'm judging myself. Like I am the first judging. And I know it sounds very silly, this question, but it's so essential for so many. What are your tips for journaling?
Well, first you write the date.
Yes, that's okay.
You write the date and the time. That's interesting. And you are first focusing on what you feel. So that's difficult. How do you feel? When I started therapy, the first question she asked is, how do you feel? And I had no idea. Yeah, so that tells you where I came from. So that's the first thing, and it can take a while. Like, how do you really feel? Because we say
put this question to ourselves.
Of course not. And also in our social life, we say, hey, how are you? And it's like an automatic response. Fine, how are you? And if I say, I'm feeling like shit, the other person in front is going to be like,
It's happening in the US. I mean, I saw that in US. I'm telling you, in Europe, I have a person that she was working for my company, and she was Spanish, and another person who was British. And they had this discussion, and the British one, she said the same, hi, I'm good. And then the Spanish, when she has been asked how she is, it was like a 5-minute complaining about things. I did la 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 la. And then once she told me, she said, I don't understand why people, they just ask how are you, but then they don't say anything.
No,
I think it depends of the culture, but I understand it in the US is really happening that.
It depends on that's 100%. It depends on this culture, and it also depends on your level of wanting to share anything with of yourself. Right. And so I realized here in America was very different, that people are it's just very different. They don't go into details that much. So it's very much like, hey, how are you? And it's a bit faster way of connecting and doing. From comparing to France, for example, very different. Or even Switzerland, we're more guarded, like, before. But then once you have a connection with someone, then they're gonna share and stay your friend. And that's very interesting. Anyway, but so journaling, and then I do a few massage. I massage my face. I think this is the most important thing you should do instead of relying only on skincare and external. Again, like we were talking about before, like just massage your body, massage yourself, and also don't try to make it too complicated. Just how do you feel? Just that's what I say in my book. It's just about reconnecting to yourself and your own creativity. You know better than anyone. And so, yes, read and inform yourself, but then in the end, it's you. It's about how do you feel today? And you're going to feel different tomorrow. So where maybe your legs need to be massaged and you feel like you need to pamper your legs today,
So true. You mentioned about your book, Seasons, and congratulations.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, why did you decide to write a book, and what is about, and where we can find it?
Okay. So it's a long time ago. I was when I was running my company, I launched it in 2002 and I sold in 2012. And so when I sold the brand, a friend of mine told me, no, first of all, okay, I still do have one of my closest friends who, she's amazing, Lily, and while I was running the company, she said to me, you should write a newsletter because you always give me cool recipes and aromatherapy recipes for feeling better or blah, blah, blah. And why don't you share that in a newsletter? But it was back then. So I was like, oh, okay, I should do a newsletter. Let's do this. And I started to share recipes every month with my clients. And when I decided to sell the brand, she said, why don't you make a book? And I was like, oh, okay. And so then that's how the idea came from. So the first one got launched in 2013. And then I made a new edition. The second one was 2016 or 17. And then now the third one, so it's a different one because it's bigger. I invited a few healers to share their recipes. So there's a acupuncturist friend of mine who deals especially with women's health and fertility. She's based on Oahu. And then another friend who's a chiropractor and a gut specialist, actually, she's amazing too. I can share their names later. I mean, they are in the book. And so they shared recipes, and I have a friend from France who's an actress and poetess, and she writes poems. So I asked her, and another friend of mine who's an artist, she did all the gorgeous art in it. And so I talk about a lot of things. I talk about health, I talk about beauty, I give practical recipes, but again, it's not rocket science. It's more about giving some guidance or some inspiration, and then how are you gonna, which one is gonna inspire you, and how are you gonna make this? It's almost like, making a pie, and you have the recipe, but then you're gonna feel, I would like more strawberries in there, or why don't I add some honey or nuts, or you know what I mean? And so that's the idea here too. It's like, maybe I want to replace the rose with, I don't know, I don't like rose, so let me use neroli instead, or so basically that's the idea of the book. And
so it's called Seasons.
Yeah, it's called Seasons.
Can be found where?
It's only on my Astral Sister website, Catherine. I'll share that too. Yeah. And it's going to be in France soon.
Yes, congratulations. And I want to say that I recommend for the listeners to subscribe as well to your newsletter. And I want to congratulate you because you are back to the newsletter. I love your newsletter.
Oh, you got it? Because a lot of people got it in the spam. So I was curious.
I read it, and I really loved it.
Oh, great.
You start with the whole story from the beginning, and you really mention a lot of people that you work with. And I think it's so nice, and it's so, you really feel that you receive an honest letter from your girlfriend that you can really learn from. So I really love it, and I really recommend everyone to
Thank you.
subscribe to it. And I hope that you continue, because this is something really nice. So
Yes, I will.
basically recuperate buying the book, and then we can have it on a weekly. How often are you planning to have this newsletter? Weekly or monthly?
I mean, I think probably a month and a half, depending on whenever I have something interesting to say. Because I mean, I can always say something, yes, but like I want to share, for example, the podcast, when it's going to be out, and like little news like that. It cannot only be about, recipes or whatever I think about life, but why not? It could. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. It was just the first one, but I will try to keep a rhythm at least every 2 months, at least.
Yes, please do it more often.
Okay.
And like, for the ones that they don't see you, you are a beautiful woman. You look fantastic, Caroline. You look fantastic.
Are you? So are you.
All these things that you don't think they're important, we want to learn from, from you. We want to learn everything that you are doing, because yes, and you think that, these are like BS. No. We want to learn, so I think you should really do that.
Okay.
So what is your favorite book? I want to have some rapid questions for you now.
Okay.
A favorite book for you?
Oh my goodness, tons of books. I can share. Oh yes, The Woman Running with the Wolves, of course. Clarissa Pinkola Estes was a wonderful one. I've read a lot of books from Melissa Broder, and that I love. I'm reading The Urge right now, which is a book about addiction, and I think it's fascinating. Which is written by Eric Fisher, I think. Yes, Eric Fisher. Let me see. Carl Eric Fisher. Yes, I have it here. What else? Oh my God, I haven't even prepared any of this. What else? What other books?
Krina, you should write me the questions before about that.
And I haven't even read it. I'm like, and then I thought I'm just gonna be spontaneous. The book I recommended about microbiome, which happens to be here, the Cultivating a Microbiome. It's not really. It's more like informational.
We need informational book. If you have some other, if you can after that send me a list, maybe your top 5 of your books, because I know now we have to read.
Just Kids. You gotta read Just Kids by Patti Smith. That's a completely different department. Anything Patti Smith is awesome. And I'm gonna think about a long list. I have like a million books I can advise, but it just doesn't come to the top of my mind. There's Viola Davis, Finding Me, which is a great one I just read recently. Ramdas. Read about Ramdas.
Your favorite drink?
My favorite drink is... it's hard to say. I love coconut smoothies. I love green tea. I don't drink alcohol at all. But there's... I've discovered this drink called Recess, a brand called Recess, which is pretty nice. Anything celebratory that's fizzy and that doesn't mess with my system, I would drink it. And the brand Vibes is great too, with CBD.
Nice.
Yeah.
Favorite
green tea
product and why?
Okay. Again, I go back to Veneda, Dr. Hauschka. I'm very traditional, and I stuck with those since I'm a child. But then I discovered recently this brand called Cosma Beauty, and I think it's very pure, very interesting concept, and gorgeous product. So I recommend everyone to check that out. Other than that, I make my own little oils. So
nice. What about makeup?
So RMS, I recommend RMS or Ilia. It's great. My friend Violette makes amazing. Violette is, we work together. I help her with the skincare and the skincare department of her brand. But I don't know anything about makeup at all. But what she does is absolutely amazing. It's art. It's just
It's art. Yeah, the colors.
Yeah, it's amazing.
The collection, it's very beautiful. Do you drink still water or mineral water, gas or without gas?
Oh, I love when it's sparkling, but not too much. And I love the one with the high mineral content. There's a brand I can never pronounce that I can also share this. It's called something in Einer at the end. It's I can't. Yeah, this one. And then otherwise, yeah, I love that kind of water the best.
What was the best advice that you received from someone?
Yoga teachers, a yoga teacher, two yoga teachers, basically, one from Australia, one from Finland. So that woman from Australia, Dina Kingsburg, said one day, it was a workshop actually. And yeah, it was one day, but it was like a long 4 hours. And the first thing she said to everyone was, so it was more like broad. It was not really directly to me, but I felt it was directly, it just spoke to me so much. She said, imagine that you have a little flame in the heart center, and your job in this life is to keep it burning and vibrant for yourself and to be the light for others. And I was like, oh goodness. And then suddenly I imagined everyone with that little light, and I thought, wow. And am I having that light inside? Like, am I taking care of my light, and so that I can be better to myself and to others? So that was, I think, a very profound thing. And then another one, this other teacher from Finland said, Petri Razainen was his name. He said, listen to what you feel. Again, so it comes back to that journaling thing, like, what do you feel? But then listen to what you feel, because what you feel now is going to be different in 10 minutes or in an hour. And it sounds a little bit self-centered, or some people would say, oh, it's selfish, but it's not, because then you can be honest. If you really are in tune with how you feel, then you can answer honestly to everyone around you and interact in a very honest way. And that's going to be a gift for everyone around you, right? Truth.
Simple and such a profound.
So truth. Yeah, truth, I would say. Yeah, truth. What's your truth?
What's your
truth about what you feel, how you feel, how do you feel? What's the truth about it? What's your truth today? Yeah.
Finally, can you give us a glimpse into what's next for you?
What's next for me is I have this dichotomy with me, is that I have this urge to ground somewhere and have my own little farmhouse and creative studio and my goats.
Come to Florence.
It's happening. It's gonna happen. And then at the same time, it's like travel and go here, go there, and live with nothing, and which is basically what's happening. So basically, I'm going to go back to the islands, back to Hawaii for 2 months, leaving at the end of the month, to organize a few events to sell the book, to sell seasons. And then I'm off to Europe. I'm back to San Francisco after, to say goodbye to everyone. and then off to Europe where I'm going to see you.
Yes.
And and then I have a few, because basically what's happening with me now is the healing arts will always remain part of my life, but the hands-on part is slowly coming to an end for now. And the beauty industry has been coming back to me with, as I said, Violette, I work with Violette, but I work with other brands that are going to launch in the next few years or even next year. And so that just came so naturally, and I'm very excited about this. So I would say I'm back into the creative part, to create brands with people who come to me and say, okay, I want to create this, I want to create that. How do you do it? So I can do basically from the conceptualization to the shelves, and everyone is different. Everyone needs different things. And then I'm partnering with an amazing friend of mine that I can share another time. But we're gonna basically open a little studio together to be a bit to probably launch something together as well,
like an agency, which basically you want together. No, it's kind of
yes, exactly, where we can create. For example, you want to come to me and you want to make a fragrance, or you want to make anything that's related to beauty or healthcare or even food, like flavoring, and then also creating I think I have the urge to create another baby brand.
Please do that. I need that.
That's gonna come.
Caroline, my last question.
Yeah.
For everyone who is ready to dream again, it's on that path, what will be your advice for the ones that they are ready to do that?
Carve time for yourself every single day. And that can be sitting on a bench at the park and breathing, closing your eyes. Try to have sun on your face. So that to connecting with those elements, the primal elements, will help you to be in deeper connection with that dream of yours, right? And so the dream that you have, the more you feed it, it's like this fire we're talking about. The more you feed it, the more it's going to manifest. And it's just like, imagine it's this like precious, like it's like a little feather, but at the same time it's a fire. I don't know if that's clear, but it's so precious. Like just keep it close to yourself and nourish it, and that's your dreams will come true for sure. Because anything that's created comes from an idea, right? From the immaterial, the non-material realm. So that's your dream, right? Your dream. So dreaming is extremely important because that's how you create things.
Thank you so much, Caroline. It was such a pleasure. And I will make sure to add all your links that everyone can continue following.
Thank you. And the books, like you wanted books. So I have a lot of books if you want any. I'm going to make a list. And I'm sorry I didn't prepare, and I saw all your emails, and I've been a very bad student.
No, Caroline. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks, Karina. Thank you.